Hey everybody, I hope y'all are doing well today. So we're going to be doing another foundation review. So we're going to be checking out the NYX Total Control Pro Drop Foundation. So I'm going to be giving y'all my first impression on this, and we're going to be doing a wear test. I have no idea what to expect because I have been very pleasantly surprised with a lot of the foundation reviews that I've been doing lately. So I do think that this is going to end up being very similar to the Fenty Skin Tint, which I really like. But outside of that, I just have no idea what to expect, but I'm looking forward to trying this out. So if you're here for the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is SonyaNicole. I post new videos here every week, including some stuff for makeup lovers who are 40 and over. So I hope that you'll consider subscribing while you're here today. I would love to have you join the channel, and I would really appreciate your support. Okay, y'all, let's get started. Okay, so let's go over some of the information about this foundation. It's supposed to be very lightweight. It's supposed to have a very natural finish. It's supposed to be very customizable, which is why it comes with a dropper. So basically, the more drops that you use, the more coverage you're going to get, but it's supposed to be buildable from sheer to medium coverage. It's supposed to be very easy to blend out. It's vegan and cruelty free, and it comes in 30 shades and it retails for $14. So $14 for a foundation for NYX. I think that price point is kind of on par with the NYX products, but for this particular one, I do think that it's overpriced because you're getting 0.43 ounces of product, which is a little less than a half an ounce of foundation for $14. So that's the same thing that they did with their tinted skin serum. This one is 0.42 ounces and it costs $17. So I'm not sure why you're not getting a full ounce of foundation with this, but maybe it's supposed to be like very highly pigmented and maybe a little bit goes a long way. It doesn't specify that in the details, but maybe that has something to do with the price point. But I do think that $14 for the amount of product that you're getting is pretty expensive for NYX especially. Okay, so I'm gonna start by shaking this up. I always like to shake up new foundations anyway, but this one is very liquidy, so you want to make sure that you shake it up first. And usually when it comes to deciding between a brush or a sponge, I usually like to use a brush with more liquidy foundations because you're not going to lose a whole lot of the foundation in the damp sponge. And then I like to use a damp sponge for thicker foundations to help shear it out if need be, and then I can always build it up. But I do think with this one, even though it is quite liquidy, I do think I'm going to start out with a sponge just because the coverage is supposed to be buildable from light to medium. So I'm thinking if I start out with a brush, I'm going to automatically get like more medium coverage. So I want to be able to see what the light coverage looks like and then build it up if I need to. So I think I'm going to start out with a sponge, but I may end up doing like a sponge on one side and a brush on the other, but I'll see. So I'm going to start with my EcoTools sponge. This is the Bio Blender one. And I don't know like how much coverage you're supposed to get with just one drop, but I'm assuming one drop would be more like sheer to light coverage, and then maybe 2 or 3 drops will give you medium. But I'm going to start out with one drop of product, and you do have to be kind of careful when you're taking this out because it is very liquidy. Ooh, it's running really fast, so you guys can see how liquidy that is. And I forgot to mention that I don't wear foundation primer, but especially when I'm testing out a foundation for the first time, I like to test it out without primer. But 9 times out of 10, I don't wear foundation primer anyways. And I am wearing the shade Mahogany in this. That's the same shade that I wear in the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop foundation. So right off the bat, just with that one coverage, and especially since I'm using a sponge, I'm getting more coverage than I was expecting. I think I'm just gonna stick with the sponge for this. The only thing about that is I think it's not quite as buildable as they said, but I will go in with one more drop just to see. I'm wondering if you can even get like more than medium coverage out of this, because I think that this is a lot of coverage for just one drop, and I'm using a sponge which is soaking up some of the product. Now in terms of how it's sitting on the skin, I have to be honest, it's really not my favorite so far. I mean, I just put it on, but it doesn't say anything about this being blurring, right? Let me just check on that. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about this having any type of blurring effects. So, and it's definitely not, which is why I checked that. But I think because of that, like I keep in my mind, I just keep comparing this to the Fenty one. It's it just seems to be kind of like sitting on the skin and also kind of like emphasizing texture that I didn't even see before I put the foundation on. Like it's not my favorite so far. I think it looks kind of especially bad like right around here, and part of that may be because I do have like these breakouts that are kind of clearing up on my cheeks, but like even when my skin is breaking out, I have other foundations that just sit better on my skin. Like this is not, I'm not really feeling this so far. But let me go in on the other side and then we'll go back and build up the coverage. So I'm going to go in with 1 drop over here. That might be a little bit more than I did on this side, but yeah, I put a little bit more foundation over here, so I'll definitely go back and build up on this side. I don't know, it's like when you first apply it, it looks okay, but as it kind of settles in, I just don't care for it too much. Like I feel like over here it's looking a little better because I just put this on, but over here as it's like settling down, I'm not crazy about it. So this is supposed to have a natural finish, and over here where I've already had it on for a couple minutes or so, I think I'm getting more of like a soft matte finish. But I think part of that is because it's looking just a little textured in some areas. Yeah, and the same thing seems to be happening over here, like as it's settling down, as it's setting on my skin, it's like looking just a little more, it's like emphasizing stuff on my face. Let me know what y'all think. I'm not crazy about this. Like out of the last maybe 5 or so foundations that I have tried, this would definitely be like one of my least favorites, and I've been having like some pretty good wear tests lately, but I'm not really feeling this one so far. I'm gonna go on this side and add a little bit more over here. And I'm just concentrating this like right on my cheeks where I have all of my my acne spots. Yeah, same thing is happening again. So like now that I just put like a fresh coat on, it looks okay. But I think as that second coat sets, it's gonna go back to looking kind of cakey like. Yeah, I'm just not, this is not my favorite foundation so far. I mean, maybe I need to try it again when my skin is a little clearer, but like I said, I have had other foundations that I've tried out while having like fresher breakouts on my face, and I just feel like other foundations that I've had, they just sit better on my skin. This one just seems to be like kind of caking up, you know? Yeah, not too crazy about it so far. Okay, I was gonna do a full face of NYX today also, but I think I'm gonna stick with my staple products, especially my setting powder. I'm thinking like I don't want anything else to like alter my opinion about this, so I think I need to go in with the products that I know are like tried and true with like all of the foundations that I like. So I'm gonna stick with my staple stuff. So for my concealer, I'm gonna use the Too Faced Born This Way. I go back and forth between this one and the Estee Lauder concealer, and I usually go with Too Faced when I'm wearing concealers that have a lighter coverage, so that's why I'm picking this one for today. I'm setting my concealer with the L'Oreal True Match powder in C5, this one here. And I'm setting the rest of my face with the Sephora Micro Smooth powder. Okay, so here's one more look at my face with the concealer and the setting powder on it, and I'm just really not liking this foundation, but I am going to finish up the rest of my makeup off camera. I'll come back and give you guys my first impressions, and then we will start the wear test. Okay, here is my makeup for today. So this is probably not going to be a long wear test today. I usually do at minimum 8 hours. It's probably not going to be that long unless I feel like things are getting better as the day goes on. But I've had this on for maybe about 30 minutes now, and I still just do not like this foundation. I do have on a little bit more eyeshadow than I normally would put on for a foundation wear test. I like to do very simple looks for these types of videos so we can focus on the foundation, but I was planning on doing another video after this. I'm not sure if I'm still going to do that though, because I just don't like my makeup today, and I am getting on a Zoom event in a couple of hours too. But if I feel like, you know how sometimes when you are wearing makeup, and for those of us who have oily skin, the foundation starts to look a little better as our natural oils come through. If I feel like that's the case, then I'll, you know, maybe extend it a little bit, but I just feel like this is not going to be, this probably is going to be maybe like a 4 or 5 hour wear test today, but I'll see. But to give y'all my initial impressions, I think I kind of just did that. I think that this foundation, it's not like horrible to the point where it's like the worst thing that I've ever tried, but I think if I were to try this out again, I would have to pair it with a smoothing primer. It just seems like, at least on my face, I have to put like a smoothing primer on underneath to make the foundation lay better on my face, because I feel like it's giving me texture that I just didn't notice before I put the makeup on. And for that reason alone, this isn't one that I would reach for. I have too many other foundations that look much better than this without having to rely on a primer. It's supposed to have a natural finish, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. I can't remember if I said this earlier, but it's supposed to have a natural finish, and I feel like I'm getting more of like a matte finish, like a soft matte finish, and I think the mattifying aspect is helping the makeup look just a bit cakey in some areas. I just don't think that my skin looks like as smooth and as like put together as it normally does with a lot of the other foundations that I like wearing. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, but so far I'm not feeling this foundation. But like I said, I am going to do a wear test just to see if it gets any better during the day. So it's a little after 12:30 in the afternoon, so I will see you guys back here in a few hours and we will see what we're looking like. Okay, y'all, I am back and it's going on 4:30. I'm not sure exactly when I started this, but I think it's been about 4 hours now. So I'm going to go ahead and end the wear test now because I've seen everything that I need to see. And I kind of already made up my mind before the wear test started that I don't like this foundation. So now this foundation does not claim to be like oil controlling or anything, but I've had it on for about 4 hours and I have oily skin. So for me to only be like this shiny so far, I think that the foundation is actually doing pretty good in that area. However, because I am starting to get shiny in the usual spots, when I put the foundation on earlier, I thought that it was making my face look textured. Now I feel like my face looks textured and a little oily. So I don't think that the texture looks any worse than it did a few hours ago. It's just that the texture is not like calming down, it's not going away, and now my skin is also starting to look a little oily. So I could, in terms of oil control, maybe I could get another few hours of wear out of this, but it's just going to like be oily and textured from here on out. So on my forehead, I usually have deep forehead wrinkles. I feel like they have been looking a little bit better over the past few weeks, but usually foundation does crease on my forehead, and I feel like today the creases are a little bit more noticeable. I'm also noticing some texture on like in my temple areas, and this is weird to me because I never notice texture right here, like on the sides of my forehead. Now I do always have texture on my cheeks, and then like on the sides of my nose it always looks like visible pores, so I always have texture here. But when I'm wearing a foundation that I like, you know, the foundation just kind of like smooths over those areas, and the texture, the foundation is not going to make the texture go away, but the foundations that I like, they definitely don't make the texture look worse, and I feel like that's what's happening with this one. So yeah, I don't really care for this foundation. Now this here, this is the NYX Tinted Skin Serum. I actually thought that this was a really good formula, but it's like a very, very light tint, like it's barely noticeable on the skin. But if this foundation had this formula to it, but with this level of pigment, then this would be really good, because the formula on this one is really nice. Like I'm almost tempted to mix these two together just to see how it would look, but I probably won't, just because I just don't want to be bothered with this foundation anymore. So I just don't like it, and I'm probably not going to reach for it again. So I guess you can't win them all, but those are my final thoughts. So let me know in the comments if you've tried this and how it worked out for you. And I really hope that y'all enjoyed this video today. If you did, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up. Please make sure you subscribe before you head out today, and I'll see y'all back here for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.